Well, it's quite a thing to hear these drivers at this stage of the season with all their experience to say that they're nervous about this one.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
There's not too many full wet races that you get to do throughout a year. Rick Kelly, sitting on pole position, had butterflies in his stomach and it was coming through his voice. You can literally hear it in his voice that he's nervous about getting underway here, getting off to a clean start, getting down to turn 1 first, and then holding on for dear life for the rest of the race, because it's not just about getting away from the rest of the field cleanly, it's about staying on the road and staying out of trouble. So we're in for a pretty manic afternoon, I reckon, here at Sandown.
Formation left commencing, formation left commencing.
Out they go to form up. And let's run you through this Fuso grid for race 25 of the season. So Rick Kelly and Jamie Whincup on the front row of the grid. Rick, 2 race wins so far this season. Jamie, 9. Will Davison, 1 here in 2009. Shane Van Gisbergen, we know that he likes the wet. A pair of 26-year-olds on the 3rd row of the grid. Tim Slade and David Reynolds, definitely ones to factor in. Paul Dumbrell, the only career win that he's ever had was here last year. He's in a purple patch. Steve Owen and Garth Tander, who won on the Sunday back in 2009. Warren Luff has put down his best individual qualifying effort in a career that's gone more than 100 races, so it's a good weekend for Luffy. There's Russell Ingall, 203rd championship event start, puts him into 5th all-time on the list. Webb and Murphy are behind there. Mark Winterbottom, 3rd in the championship, the leading Ford driver in the series, and he's way back in 17th. Fabian Coulthard on the move next year to BJR. He's next to DJR, Stevie Johnson, Dean Fiore. Andrew Jones comes in to replace Jason Bright, who is still suffering that rib injury that saw him bail out of the last race in Tassie, and replaced by Ken McConville. Carl Reindler will start from P25 next to Jason Bargwana, and can you believe it? Craig Lowndes, 2nd in the championship, less than 200 points adrift at this stage of the season, has his equal worst ever qualifying in a career that has done the lot. If anything, it's going to be fun to try and watch him come through.
We jump on board now with Lee Holdsworth in the Gary Rogers Motorsport Jiu-Jitsu Racing entry. Here's James Courtney, and they're not asleep at the wheel out there at the moment, folks, in these conditions. They're doing everything known to man to make tyre temperature, to make brake temperature, and to get a feel for the grip, because the grip around here varies enormously. We used the phrase a little bit earlier that it's a patchwork quilt. It is just that. There's old and new mixed together, little odd patches here and there. You've heard the boys talk about there being bumps, there's painted white lines. You're going to have to be right at the peak of your power to get a proper read on the conditions.
And exactly what you're saying there, Neil. See all the differences there in terms of the surface. And as the guys pull up on the line, you'll see that there's a new surface, a big square shape there they all come up to. And then behind that is the old surface. There's differing grip between those two.
And remember, if you do need to leave us this afternoon, take your Telstra NextG mobile phone and you can catch all our coverage. But you've got to be mad to leave this one, because it's all going to go down very quickly.
And there'll be winners and losers big time off the start line on board here with James Moffat. They had to replace a screen in this car yesterday, got a massive rock through the screen. Here's Paul Dumbrell, been in form last weekend in Tasmania, form again yesterday, and he's tapering now towards the end of his full-time V8 supercar career. So there'll be some that try and just gently, as Will Davison described it, idle away road car style. Others will try and do a racing start. There'll be guys that shoot forward out of nowhere, guys that shoot backwards. But there's a big thing to remember at Sandown. If you drive down the left and you think you're in good shape, it rapidly goes from about 5 car widths wide to about 3. So watch out for trouble down the inside for the guys that think there's an advantage down there, because it turns into grass.
Team Vodafone bookending this grid, which is not what they wanted to do, but Rick Kelly will start from pole position on a day that will be one for the mud runners here at Sandown. How do they get away? Well, Whincup didn't go anywhere. Shane Van Gisbergen rounds him up. Will Davison threads the needle too. Rick Kelly goes off in the distance. He's being hunted down by 2 Fords into turn 1. Good start from Van Gisbergen. Up to turns 2 and 3. Everybody's managed to stay on the track. And Lowndes brings up the rear of the field. No pace whatsoever mid-pack.
So from position 2 to position 4 in the drop of a clutch for Jamie. This is Will Davison on the outside of Van Gisbergen at turn 6. You have to be a brave boy to stay with that in these conditions on the outside. It's a very gentle opening lap for all these guys. Very clean through 1, 2, 3 and 4.
What a great start, Rick Kelly. He made the car motor away absolutely perfectly. No wheel spin. Conversely, Jamie Whincup almost stalled. Lost 4 positions at turn 1. This is on board now with Whincup. When he comes out of this corner behind Will Davison, you watch the visibility from inside this car. It'll turn into nothing.
Van Gisbergen was massively sideways off the last corner. He lost a lot of ground there. So watch for Jamie to now duck left or right. There's the spray that Mark was telling you about. Looks for a run down the inside. He's got a decent run on him. This might be for position. It's line ball, but Whincup gets it done. Is there a crisscross on the other side? No, he hangs on.
This is the old surface. This is where it's the slipperiest. Turn 2, 3 and into 4. We saw so many guys off the road in qualifying. And this is the most important corner on the track. Turn 4. Get the car turned and get onto the back straight. It's a little wild luff. Sideways. Jonathan Webb down the inside between 3 and 4. Saw Warren Luff get out onto the paint and you can't touch the paint. That's the drama on the exit.
Puts him back to 14th, Warren Luff. Remember, he qualified 11th. Hasn't been a great opening lap for him.
Well, similar spray that they have on the front straight, they get on the back straight.
Now, Whincup's all over the back of Van Gisbergen, who really struggled to get the car to put down the power in second gear at the final corner. He's struggling to get off the corner again. Jamie will have him at this second last corner if he gets a gap here.
Good pass. Very good quality pass.
So Van Gisbergen's got traction drama at the moment. It might be that the tyres haven't come up to pressure at this stage, and he just can't get power to the road. So 2 positions straight back and a response immediately by Whincup. He started second, he went to 4th, he's back to second.
In 2 laps. That's what he does best. Fire straight back at him, but Rick Kelly has a 2-second gap out in front.
And he won't like the look of the red car in the mirror now because he liked what he saw before.
Dumbrell's on a charge here too. You'll just see a glimpse of the green car in the background. He's right behind Will Davison. There he is. Just cleared off a little bit from David Reynolds now. So watch to see whether or not Davison can also take advantage of these drive issues that Van Gisbergen's having in the early phase of this race. 2.7 second margin, Rick Kelly to Jamie Whincup. It's a good buffer to start with.
If you think about doing 270 kilometres an hour up that straight, but you can't see the road nor the car in front, this is as wild as you ever have in a race car.
The point about top speeds in the wet, they're actually oddly enough not much slower than what you do in the dry. The difference in the wet is you don't do it for as long.
Steve Owen is up to 7th after starting 9th. He's tucked in behind David Reynolds.
And on these lap times at the moment, which is around the 1 minute 20, 1 minute 21 mark, they're saving about 500 millilitres or half a litre of fuel per lap by comparison to the normal fuel burn that they get in the dry here. That'll impact strategy.
And the smart thing, the difficult part about driving behind in the rain is you've actually got to stay as close as you can possibly be to the car in front. It sounds weird, but the only time you can do anything about it is if you are so close, you know where the red line is for the car in front, isn't it? If you get back a bit, you can't see anything.
That odd sound that you can hear as the cars make the run into turn 1 is the wet tyres whining. This is the replay of the start. Cracker start for Rick Kelly, shocker for Jamie Whincup, and much cleaner than I thought into turn 1 and 2.
That's almost stalled. That's almost lights out. When he first did it, I thought he was gone. I thought it was parked.
I wonder whether or not he had to use the auto start then, because if it did actually stop, it's both pedals to the floor. That is the clutch and the accelerator, and the car will start again.
So Rick Kelly has taken advantage of pole position. He's got nobody in front of him except a lot of wet track. Jamie Whincup has already fought back 2 positions. Van Gisbergen, Davison, Dumbrell, and Steve Owens just got past David Reynolds.
Okay, mate, you're 4 seconds quicker than the first sector. He's now in a little bit back in that middle 1 minute, but he's covered on it. Alright, good job, mate. Really well.
Well, the man who somehow manages to get faster every time he announces he's retiring has just got another slot on this racetrack. Paul Dumbrell has gone up to 4th ahead of Will Davison. Rick Kelly's our race leader by 3 seconds from Jamie Whincup. Craig Lowndes has moved up to position 21. And, Rick.
Oh, man, how much mud went in the front of that thing. So he had nearly a 3-second margin. He'll have lost a little bit of that. And this is Steve Owen, a lap earlier, getting down the inside of David Reynolds. That's at Dandenong Road. We call it turn 9, turn 8. But gee whiz, that was wild. Look at this. Garth Tander getting a little love bite from Todd Kelly.
I don't think that one's over because they're blazing down to turn 2, still alongside each other. The rain in the break is coming down heavier. And Dumbrell's in the pits with Steve Owen.
Yellow flags are out. I think there's some debris on the circuit.
Yeah, I saw something at the last corner. It was almost impossible to spot, I might mention, but Dumbrell's reacted quickly and come in.
Do not change those tyres.
Clear to go when you drop.
Leave those walk tyres off.
Go.
Oops, stalled it. That's cost him, well, that's a good 5 seconds there. That's a massive loss of time. Look how close that Steve Owen is to the back of him now as a result. That will really hurt Paul Dumbrell.
There's Lowndes. Lowndes got to about 22nd position, so it was quite a good first foray for Lowndes, but now
there was a big chunk of looked like a bit of sill panel or a bit of bumper bar or something that I spotted at the last corner on the inside of the corner. Well, here we go, and bits of sign. So there's rubbish everywhere around here. It's not surprising when you consider just how diabolical conditions are. I thought we would have seen more people off in the early part of the race, so they're extremely well behaved, very cautious.
Rick Kelly will have to be careful now. What you've got to do when you've had mud come through the car like that, you want to run it through every big puddle you can possibly find. So you want to try to clear as much out of the front radiator duct. We saw a lot of mud in the front of Rick Kelly's car leading this race. Here they are.
Scapey, there once was a sponsorship sign that sat on that corner on the last turn. Todd Kelly coming through about 2 laps ago, just came in really tight on the corner, skipped up and hit the sign, and it just disintegrated, went right across the field. They've done a couple of laps before the cars have been back over it, but now officials have decided to just bring out the yellow flag and clear that off the track, which they're doing at the moment.
Okay.
Thanks, Brett.
And he also went off at turn 4 as well, so he's had a couple of excursions. So there's our race leader.
That was close, and he had to get the instruction then because he was going to press on, Jamie. But we had a shot a moment ago also of Michael Caruso, who's been complaining of zero visibility in that car. So when it was in, I'd say that they probably tried to do something to try and clean things up a little bit for him. If you do get the real heavy fogging, it's your worst nightmare.
We just don't even know where the corner is. It's so bad. The visibility, we've already seen the spray from the other cars.
Gee, there's some push and shove going on in this lane at the moment.
But if the inside of the screen is totally fogged up, then the visibility is 0. As you can see, a lot of the cars there with visibility problems. There's 4 or 5 of them as they come out. And this is rejoin. Just check there. That's
James
that's Moffat. Let's turn around.
Craig Lowndes was lucky to dodge that bullet.
He certainly was.
So this is midfield. And this is the mess all over the road that I talked about before, just on the inside of the final corner. So a couple of people electing not to stop here, including Dean Fiore in the West Track entry and also Andrew Jones. They're 1st and 4th at the moment. Everybody else in the field has stopped and taken some service. So the best placed car in the field that has stopped remains Rick Kelly. Remember, he had nearly a 3-second margin, and then there was a bit of chaos when he started to scoot through the grass. Rick Kelly, Jamie Whincup, Will Davison, they're the top 3 who have made a stop. But this is the race leader in the West Track entry. Dean Fiore from Western Australia leads the field.
I mean, obviously the one where you ran wide at the chicane, you took a chunk of time out of there. The first 4 laps you gapped him, and then he just took a bit more out of the... He's generally a bit stronger in that middle sector than you. First few laps you were the best in the 1st and 3rd sectors.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, okay.
Right, I didn't say anything.
These cars going just Kelly. Okay, so the car was just going... Keep saving as much fuel as you can, mate, it'll trade dividends later. Circuit car debris, so just continue 60 kilometers per hour.
Thank you, Garrett. kilometres an hour.
Okay, safety car, you can look your speed 80, look your speed 80.
Safety car increasing speed to 80 kilometres an hour.
Just a reminder about overlapping for the other
Yes, safety car, expecting one more lap, expecting one more lap, wait for my confirmation. Keep it at 80, over.
Safety car received.
Okay, safety car, you can lift your speed on the straights, 120, just the course.
27-year-old Dean Fiore is at the front of the field, but he did not pit. Andrew Jones, the only other car not to go through the lane, so Rick Kelly is the best of the bunch that did. Jamie Whincup behind him. Some interesting things in that, we'll just get this restart done. Not this time around. So some interesting things in that pit stop scenario there that played out. We believe that Will Davison has put fresh tyres on in the lane. We know that Paul Dumbrell, and Andrew Jones has just come in, we know that Paul Dumbrell stalled it on the way out, so he could have been much higher, and Craig Lowndes, by coming in straight away, has moved even further up in the field. He's now in 14th spot with one more car to pit, so an effective 13th spot for Lowndes.
Matty, I can confirm, Will Davo did put 4 new tyres. I asked them why they did that, because no one really thought that was a good idea. Their car was handing badly. It gave them the opportunity to put tyres on with extra pressure already in them. Now, Lee Holsworth is just coming in here behind me. He's already put out. Look at the vision. He can't see. He's complaining. He can't see out of the car. The demister's not working properly. Scafey, you and I talked about this morning. When you're sitting in the driver's seat, going down the straight here in these conditions, there could be a Melbourne tram parked in the middle of the straight and you would not see it. And you know, your head saying this is wrong, your heart saying you've got to keep your right foot buried. There's only one word describes it, mate. You've just got to be brave. I mean, really, you just got to be brave.
Oh, no doubt, Larko. And in terms of bravery, it is the most courageous thing you could do. And you think, drive down there when you can't see at 270 kilometres an hour. You don't know where the road is. You don't know where any other car is. It is wild with a capital W.
Car 9 and car 47, so Shane Van Gisbergen and Tim Slade also went for fresh rubber as well in that stop.
That
just doesn't look.
This is Groundhog Day repeat cycle radar image, so you're going to just keep on seeing that this afternoon. There's more of this stuff coming through. It's forecast to go right through until virtually up to the edge of midnight, so I think they'll be done by then. But it's pretty hard work out there at the moment. Like, it's a nightmare. And the thing about it here, because of those really shiny surfaces, once the screen misses up on the inside, you can't even pick when it's coming, because you've actually got to adjust and reset your throttle. So, green flag, we're good to go. Dean Fiore, the man of the moment, he's got the margin on them as they head down there, and he's got the clear screen. And look at this for Jamie.
But Jamie's restart was very good. In fact, Rick Kelly's wasn't that good. You can see how much Dean Fiore gapped him in that first restart, and Jamie has backed off. He backed off out of the spray then. He couldn't see, and he purposely backed off.
Well, the last thing Jamie Whincup wants to do is leave here without any points. He's defending a championship lead, and his nearest rival, Craig Lowndes, is moving up through the field. Will Davison's going to go past Whincup here. He is playing it ultra safe.
Well, I think he's got no grip there at the moment, so it might take a moment for Jamie's car to find its feet again, get some temperature and pressure back. Car 34, pit lane drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement. Michael Caruso, pit lane infringement, and now lead change as Rick Kelly takes command at the end of the back straight. So this is for position. Dean's not lap. He just hasn't taken the opportunity to pit. He doesn't have to. There's nothing in the rules that says he does, but but he's going to need fuel before now at the end of the race. It's another strategy play.
Oh, that was tight. Steve Owen came in hot there. He had James Courtney behind him. Owen 7th, Courtney, and then his teammate Tander 8th and 9th. David Reynolds rounding out the top 10. And Dumbrell's gone off. Found the beach, found the grass, and came back on the black stuff.
Now, we always argue this. When you go off the road, there should be a penalty. When he has come back on, he hasn't lost the position that he was already in. So it'll be interesting to see what the officials do. Look at that for visibility. That is almost impossible to see the next car. The rain lights are on. You can see the high-intensity light in the middle of the boot of both the Ford and the Holden. And as soon as the wet tyres are fitted, you must have the light. There's Rick Kelly off. And that's Engel off at turn 1. But that was Rick Kelly also off the road again.
Now, he'll be the debutant in the new chicane. So
this will be interesting.
He better get on the brakes. He's going to spear into those tyres. Oh, gee, just got through there. Well done.
Nice job.
Well done.
I tell you what, though, you got it, Scapey. That could have been really bad for our race leader, Rick Kelly. He came in so unsettled into turn 3 and somehow managed to get it back together. He's already been off at that spot. He's already been off at turn 13. He went off in qualifying as well, but still managed to put it on pole. So Rick is just holding on. And Will Davison's had enough of Dean Fiore. He's flashing the lights. He's giving him a bump. He's doing everything to get around him.
And we said when he put new tyres on that this was a bad move. But this set of tyres is obviously better because he's stronger. That's Fiore gone. Now, he's got to make sure he doesn't rejoin and hit the next car. So there's Will Davison going by. Well done, Dean Fiore.
Yeah, the rules state that you must safely rejoin without disadvantaging another competitor. So, I mean, not that he can see anything. His peripheral vision at that point, 0.
Scapey, just further to that point, yeah, that set of tyres that Will Davo put on, yeah, they had additional tyre pressure in them. Now, remember we saw Craig Lowndes struggling qualifying with insufficient tyre pressure. So clearly these cars in these conditions are very, very sensitive to it.
Yeah, Jamie's going further back now. Van Gisbergen just grabbed him for 4th placing.
There's a bad river between turn 1 and turn 2. Did you see the massive moment then? Oh, there's Dumbrell gone. He's backed up. He's hit the fence. He's back to back.
He
did a good job not to get hit then.
Mate, when you're ready, watch the inside.
And Winterbottom gets down the inside of his teammate. That's Tander, that's Bardwana, that's Slade, that's Jonathan Webb. All in that group.
He grabbed a little bit of brake then, Paul Dumbrell, to stop it going further back into the pack, which saved him from damage and those around him.
Have a look at the wheel spin then. Tander can't see. He had to get out of the throttle then. Tander purposely backed it off.
Bardwana's come from 26th, by the way. He's up in this 13th, 14th route, and he's going like a blur in the Jana Living car.
And same too for Craig Lowndes with the benefit of that early stop. At the start of this race, there were 25 positions between Lowndes and Whincup. There are now 6 positions between Lowndes and Whincup.
Look for Paul Dumbrell here. This is the replay. He tripped it over on the inside curb at 3, rotated it, glanced at the fence, put his foot on the brake and stopped it from going further back into the traffic, put it in gear, got away with it with not much more than a scuff.
Very good job. Well, a bad job to have a spin, but a great job to come out with very little damage. This is on board now. This is the bit in the straight line section I said. That's where the river was.
And it's because he took too much curb here.
Oh, watch this one, exactly. Watch this. On board, straight round, and have a look. Now, he's done the go-kart method. He gassed her up, trying to make it turn right round. Engages gear, got it going. Good coordination. And that's Tander, and that's Bardwana. And up the next straight, Tander had to back it off, and Bardwana pressed on.
Hey, Scapey, could the day get any tougher for Michael Caruso? He's had to do that drive through pit lane. It was for a penalty. They'd set the wheel out to change it when he came in. As one of the Jim Beam cars came in, it clipped the wheel, and the wheel started rolling down pit lane. The crew ran out to get it. Bang, penalty. Michael Caruso suffers.
Tony D'Alberto's parked his car in pit lane as well at the moment, so we'll chase that story up. Don't know what the problem is there. He's been competitive at various points over the weekend. Rick Kelly's got 3.9 seconds on Will Davison. Fiore's dropped back into 4th now. Van Gisbergen hanging on for 3rd. It's game on everywhere.
Did you see how much curb Lowndes just used down at on road? It was the whole car across the inside curb. This is a very impressive drive, James Courtney. These conditions are the toughest imaginable for race drivers. And he has done a great job. And that's the gap. You can just see that Whincup to Lowndes. This is 1 and 2 in the championship.
And Scapey, we are seeing the Lowndes of old. This is what we expected in qualifying. Just asked Jeremy Moore, his engineer, so what's changed? He said absolutely nothing except the tyres.
Yeah, well, that's another story. I think there might have been a bit of tyre drama in that qualifying session for Craig Lowndes, and there's another pass for James Courtney. Good job.
So he's now position 4, the reigning champion, Courtney. There's Whincup, 6. There's his teammate Craig Lowndes, who's currently 11th and threatening to grab Fabian Coulthard. So this is a great recovery, and it goes back to the point that we made at the top of the show about just going to be very careful in this business of predicting outcomes. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just not that easy to predict this business. There's so many wild card elements to it.
Oh, when you can't see, you mean?
Yeah, that's right. Get a bad start, get punted off, have a little problem in the pit lane. I mean, look at wow, that's extraordinary. And I don't know how to properly describe this. When you're in that mist, that the boys are in there at the moment, it's horrendous. It's you're just swamped in a, and it's not even, it looks grey from the outside. When you're in the car, you know, Scapey, it's a brown, muddy mess, isn't it? All you see on the screen is this brown haze.
And we're talking about the bravery with this before. You think you leave your foot flat in 6th gear, 270 kilometres an hour, and you can't see one car length in front of you. That's why they're all shifting their cars out of the way. And there are little glimpses. What Craig Lowndes' incentive is, there'll be little sections on this track where he will pick up where Whincup is. So the section now where you go up into turn 2, in turn 4, Lowndes will say, there's a Vodafone car. Down at turn 9, you'll be able to say, there's a Vodafone car. So there's 2 or 3 little spots where you'll get to see it.
Tony D'Alberto just back in the garage with a bent steering arm on the right front. They've almost got it changed, but guys, I don't think that's the last one we'll see today.
And thanks, Barrett's. Garth Tander's also got foggy issues, and they've given him the good news. Press on, and we'll have to deal with it after the race.
Great.
If you get there.
Thanks for the comeback. It's almost, why did I bother ask? Now, Rick Kelly has a 5-second lead here as the rain buckets down at Sandown. You're riding with 3rd here in the championship, Mark Winterbottom, who's position 12. In front of him is Craig Lowndes, 2nd in the championship.
He's gone back to 2nd gear at turn 1.
Well, he had to. Yeah. He wanted to stop.
No, Scapey and I just flinched, and hoping that we don't grow up to be valve springs.
So remember, Lowndes started from the last row of the grid. Mark Winterbottom started from position 17. They're now 11th and 12th. Rick Kelly has a 6.7 second lead over Shane Van Gisbergen now, who's bumped past Will Davison.
Wheel spin here in the low gears. We're on board again with Mark Winterbottom. Look at this.
This was the overtake manoeuvre for Van Gisbergen down the inside of Will Davison. Now he gets down there, they get round the corner, a little bump, and then have a look just here. They get across the little next section, and he almost spun as he took that position. Have a look at this chaos. That's Lowndes.
Which particular piece of chaos are you referring to at the moment? There's no shortage of it out there. So this is brewing into a serious arm wrestle between this little group at the moment. We're back with Mark Winterbottom, I think, and he's in.
Yep, Lowndes
That's okay, so that is Coulthard, yes.
Yep.
So this is 11th and 12th. Lowndes has got that job done. Kelly is the man in control with a 7.9 second margin. Let's not forget the Jack Daniels racer is on target to do what he did in New Zealand. That's extraordinary. Massive amount of water on the screen. They've got the high-speed wipers on at the moment. Full sweep across the screen. And they're going across that glazed stuff into turn 1 with the cars crossed up under brakes. Big wheel spin through that channel of water that Mark described a moment ago. Kelly, Van Gisbergen, Courtney in third. Then Davison, Whincup, Fiore still doing a ripper job. Todd Kelly, David Reynolds, Steve Owen and Craig Lowndes in the 10 now. Now, the interesting thing here in the focus for the battle for third in the championship and for Ford honour is Van Gisbergen in second is going to help his cause enormously. The men that he's fighting, look at this, up the inside for Frosty on Fabian and done at turn 6. We're doing what you do in the car. You hold your breath and you think, is the nose of that thing going to reappear again, or have I actually got it done? And then often there's a little bit of braille to tell you that maybe it hasn't been done quite cleanly. You get that whack in the side of the car and you feel your way through what's going on.
Listen for the wheel spin on the way out, coming onto the straight here. So you get through the second last corner, you sacrifice the entry, you turn the car, then you've got to get it straight. Now listen for it. Unbelievable amount of wheel spin in this next little phase, in that section right there, where all the bumps make the car burst the wheel spin. Courtney's caught significantly on Van Gisbergen.
Just like to grab a quick chat here with Mark Dutton, Jamie Whinkup's engineer. Dutto, still strong in 6th there, but what, in championship conservation mode, being safe?
Yeah, I mean, after the safety car restart, obviously there's a few people with nothing to lose, so they're going to go hard. The problem is in these conditions, if you sort of back off and let a few people past, your tyres cool down even more. Hence you saw the subsequent slow laps and a little bit of it being mobbed. But now if you look at the times, he's pushing it hard, the temp's back in the brakes, getting into the tyres getting hot, and the lap times are a bit more what we're used to with Jamie.
Yeah, they've actually very good points. Thanks for the heads up there, mate. Now we might just try and grab Roland Dane, the team principal here. Hey, RD, just quickly, just looking at these conditions out here, mate, they are very, very quick, almost bordering on, rolling your safety car just to bring it back.
Yeah, I think you've got to remember that we don't have an actual full wet weather tyre here. We've got an intermediate tyre. And at some point, you've really got to decide when there's too much standing water and where that margin is. It's a difficult call, I know, but somebody's got to make it sooner or later.
All right, thanks, mate, for the heads up.
Another interesting point to add here, and we saw the pass for James Courtney on Shane Van Gisbergen, second for third, as Todd Kelly also puts a move on Dean Fiore. They're 6th and 7th. They've exchanged spots now. Van Gisbergen's been on the radio saying, I'm really struggling to see. The fogging is beginning to overcome the anti-fog in the car, so he's got his problems with vision as well.
Craig Lowndes has another look and will get another spot, this time up to 8th from David Reynolds.
Oh, see that? Oh. That wheel spin almost turned him around. Almost in the fence on the left-hand side.
And that's a move for Paul Dumbrell on Mark Winterbottom. So it's Rick Kelly by 10.3 seconds over Courtney. Van Gisbergen third. Will Davison fourth. Jamie Whincup in 5th. And Lowndes will get another spot. So Todd Kelly 6th and Lowndes up to 7th.
And Garth Pander, I didn't get to make the point about him because remember he's in this battle for third in the championship at the moment. He's down in 21st position at the moment.
And it will be a horror race for him. Now, he will finish this race and say that's one of the worst races I've ever been in. When you finish in 21st spot, you can't see for that duration. You get out and you say, wow, that's as dangerous as it ever gets. And now Lowndes only one position behind his teammate and series leader. Whincup 5th, Lowndes 7th. Great drive from the back of the field. 20 positions.
Job there, mate. 7 so far, 18 to go.
It's always more comfortable to be the attacker than the defender. So if you're Craig, you have a go, you do everything you've got in your toolkit to be able to try and get the job done, get points. For Jamie, he's come into the event with the cushion. He knows that a spin and say you bog the car off in the grass there, that's no points. And that would immediately swing this thing back in the other direction. Just like that. Greg Murphy off the road. He's down in 26th on the computer at the moment.
And a big shot.
Oh, yes, a big one.
Coming over the hill. Sorry, boys. I think the car's not good.
It's voice of Greg Murphy on the radio. So this is at the end of the back straight, turn
got
7.
that, mate, you're right.
Remember what we showed you at the start of the show?
Careful to restore. Did you see the car? Is it bad? On the front.
Oh, man.
That's in heavy.
No, thanks.
That's fast.
Yeah, it's fucking the tyre barriers. Bounced it off.
That is a big accident. We saw action there last year with Will Davison and Garth Tander and Michael Caruso. They better be careful here because you don't want a car down the grass to get Greg Murphy parked there.
There's a safety
Come on,
car.
safety car out. That's a very good decision. Well done.
I think he's going to be able to clear the car anyway, but the last thing you want to see is somebody arrive crossed up, not able to wriggle around him.
He's in a bit of pain there, Greg Murphy. He was taking some deep breaths. He's okay, but the car is not.
Leaders at turn 1, car 15. Just remain on standby.
Safety car on standby.
Safety car scramble.
Safety car on track.
Safety car, wave those cars behind you past, over.
Safety car waving cars past.
Thank you. Safety car, car 15, you need to pick up car 15.
Safety car awaiting car 15.
Safety car 15, you need to have car 15 behind you. Safety car, just confirm you can hear my transmissions. It's car 15 you need. Over.
Safety car received. Safety car with car 15 behind us.
Okay, thank you, safety car. You've got a clear track in front of you, but we've had the tyre bundle moved at turn 6. We'll just be addressing that while we're under safety car. Over.
Safety car received.
Okay, safety car expecting one more lap, We're just doing some other tidying up around the circuit there. The tyre bundle moved at turn 2. We're just sorting out. Over.
Safety car received.
You'll let me go whenever you can, but it's a bit of a struggle. Yeah, copy that. How are you on today? Is that all good?
Safety car, just keep left through turn 2, please. Left through turn 2.
Safety car to the left through turn 2.
No real let up from the weather. The only breather they've been given is when the safety car has been on the circuit. and it continues around now. So it's closed the gap for Rick Kelly, who had a lead by over 10 seconds over James Courtney. Shane Van Gisbergen in third.
Well, Greg Murphy out of the car. Murph looking at the side of the car. It was a fairly heavy hit.
Yeah, lucky for the tyres, eh? Yeah, not so good. Just trying to go too fast.
How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I mean, here it is on the replays. I mean, we obviously had a drama, put us out of the queue. I couldn't see. I mean, the windscreen was not working, so it was totally fogged up. Couldn't see the edge of the track, so we had to come in and you know, race was pretty well done from there. So hoping for another safety car. Unfortunately, I didn't want to be the one to cause it.
How tough is it out there?
It's not so bad when you can see. I don't think. I mean, when we cleaned the screen, I had about 3 laps where it was quite good visibility, but then it just started to condensate up, and then it just gets harder and harder and harder. So depending on how good your visibility is, if your visibility is all right, then it's not so bad. But when you can't see in those conditions with all that spray, it's not the greatest place to be.
Rest up tonight, back tomorrow, Murph.
Yeah, we get another shot at it tomorrow.
In some ways, I reckon Greg Murphy's cause there was helped by the fact that when he went onto the grass, he ended up parallel to the wall, so it didn't spin the car out at all. It actually ran alongside the tyre barrier. Still a massive shunt, though, but this is going to be interesting. Rick Kelly now, completely advantage gone in terms of time under the safety car. And look out for James Courtney. Will Davison wants to have a crack at Shane Van Gisbergen. This is game on.
Yeah, Will making a big run as they went to that restart. And this is the time where you can pounce, because once you settle into the routine and you lose touch with the lead group, look at the 2 Vodafone cars line astern through turn 1. And Todd Kelly's mixed in there as well. Lowndes up on the outside, but he's going to be awkwardly placed down here. He cops a whack.
But he's in front of his teammate, and again, both Jack Daniels cars go straight through the mud there in turn 3.
Todd Kelly it was. So Lowndes has got through on his teammate now. This is a remarkable comeback for Craig.
Look at the mud on his windscreen, Jamie Whincup.
What a fantastic bit of driving with Todd Kelly and Craig Lowndes. And look at Whincup, cannot see a thing at 270k at Courtney, who's got everything to play for. He's had a shocking year as the defending champion. He will do everything. The safety car back out again. Safety cars breed safety cars, and in these conditions, you just cannot see. That's Steve Johnson in the sandpit. That's turn 1.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I think it might have been Luffy or something.
Wow, that was... Talked about this in the break, that James will get a real giddy up here, given his proximity to Rick Kelly and the restart. And he just needs a result in 2011. Got a great start in Abu Dhabi. That gives you an idea of the fogging issue. See what it looks like on the left there. Once that gets across to the driver's side of the screen, it's a nightmare. Here we go. Let's have a look up the back there, see if we can pick out what's happened here to Stephen. And meantime, have a look at this. Lowndes up on the outside of Todd. They touch. Meantime, Todd can't pull it up. Goes across the grass. Dukes of massive amount. Dukes of Hazzard. Massive amount of mud in the radiator and the brake intake. Bargwana was off down there. There's the whack. I think he was right. It was Warren Luff who made contact with him at turn 1 for Stephen Johnson.
And the guy that we've missed, who has done a really good job, who's come from 14th position, is Todd Kelly, up to 5th. Really driven the car well, so it shows that those young guys,
front right,
Rick and Todd, very good car speed, right hand front tyre, and just checking for damage on Lee Holdsworth's car. So Rick Murphy out, Tony D'Alberto out, Lee Holdsworth in the pit, and this is Steve Johnson being recovered.
And very good car speed for the Jack Daniels guys in the wet. I mean, yesterday in the practice sessions, yesterday in their combined practice session, Rick Kelly was 23rd.
Yeah.
It was hot, it was windy, and it was dry. Today it's cold, it's wet, and it's slippery. He's leading the race. His brother is 5th. They have both gone through turn 3, the mud, and it hasn't done them too bad.
Well, they've got away with it. And you've got to get into context this drive of Lowndes. From 27th position to 6th, to be in front of his teammate, his championship combatant. It's an unbelievable drive.
How do you reckon Roland Dane was feeling when they came up there to turns 2 and 3, side by side with a Jack Daniels car in between them, in the wet? Lowndes going for broke.
Roland, just Craig Lowndes' performance. I know you were watching very nervously there as the cars came close together.
Yeah, I think they both know the rules, but Jamie's having a little bit of trouble on the restarts. Craig's very quick at the moment, so he's going as quick as Rick was pretty much before that last safety car. So he's giving it a red-hot go.
He's amazing, isn't he, Lowndes, to come from 27th to what is he, 6th at the moment. We spoke about it last week in Simmons Plains, but he's just an amazing driver.
Yeah, well, he managed to put the disappointment of qualifying behind him and get on with the show today, which is good.
We'll let you get back to the action.
Thank you.
And that's a very good point. I mean, we talk about the freak factor of Lowndes. He's done the lot with. We're not surprised at all by the fact that he can pull these kind of drives off. But
look at this.
I mean, you're kicking cans at the end of qualifying, aren't you? You're dragging, you know what, along pit lane because you've just had the worst on a critical championship weekend. But he has this ability to forget about it.
Yeah, just quick word with Mike Henry, team manager down here at HRT, mate. It is great to see James Courtney back up there, mate. We haven't seen him now. I saw you were disappointed with the safety car. That says to me you think he's going to have a crack at Kelly.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to hope he's going to have a crack at old Rico. Yeah, it was good, and we had a good run up the back straight, so it looked quite nice for half a lap, and then safety car was out again. So, but we'll be right. We'll have another go.
Mate, I noticed you're strong in the wet and the dry, so we can expect something from him tomorrow as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been, we've been working through a bit of a program, so we're happy that we had some pace on yesterday. So fingers crossed as it dries up tomorrow, or should dry up tomorrow, we'll probably be okay to go, I think.
I don't believe I'm going to say this, mate, but everyone's happy when Red's back.
Of course, mate. We're always happy. It's great.
Good on you, Mike.
Thank you.
So I've been critical of Rick Kelly's restarts. This is a very important one. What you're going to do is slow up. Slow up right now. Get the car off the last corner as straight as you can. Don't touch the paint and get out of there. Well done. That was a better restart.
Courtney went with him. He pretty much
good job.
Shadowed everything he did, but there's quite a gap back to Will.
So bad restart for Will Davison. There's Davey Reynolds in the fence. That's out of the final corner. He'll spin this car around when the field goes by, but someone will have helped him in there. You won't go in there by yourself. So there's Todd Kelly. We just said he did a really good job. There's Craig Lowndes right behind him, and have a look at the wheel spin in that spot. Lowndes looks very dangerous here.
Yeah, I think you may not have seen vision. Davey Reynolds' thing was triggered. Paul Dalbrell actually spun his car around on the restart, which then in turn spun. Oh, there's more action.
Yeah, Steve Owens just touched the fence. It didn't do any damage for him, but he still hung out wide. Gets both wheels on the right-hand side of that curving on the exit of 4. Here's Will Davison, 3rd. Ahead of him in that miss, James Courtney, and ahead of Courtney, Rick Kelly.
Very good first lap, Rick Kelly. Got a good margin there of just over a second.
They've clearly got a setup working on both those Jack Daniels racing cars. It's excellent in these breezy conditions. We saw it in New Zealand. We're seeing it again today. Todd's on the march. He'll be a much tougher argument for Craig Lowndes to overcome.
Well, that's always what happens, isn't it? You get the first 10 guys reasonably easy. As you get towards the front, they play for keeps. And there's Mark Warner. That's a big accident in the same spot as Greg Murphy. Safety car for sure. A lot of damage to the back of that car.
It's about sums up our luck, mate. Yeah, up to 12, but anyway, bad luck.
He did a really good job, as you can hear there over the radio, up to 12.
From 26th, Scafey, so a good drive for the Jarnell Living entry of Jason Bargwana, and that's a pretty big crash too.
Here we go, so he got hit in the back corner, he said, which was James Moffat.
Oh, he's going to get collected again for sure, or is it going to the fence?
I think it goes in backwards, but you can hardly see.
How would you know?
But
here we go.
Here we go, and he...
Yeah, so crunch into the fence.
And Andrew Jones, who's replacing Jason Bright for the weekend, has just come over the radio and said, this is really dangerous. I cannot see a thing. So, pretty heavy debut again this year in this sort of race. Marshall's doing a very good job there.
Guys at the Jack Daniels garage obviously very satisfied with the way things have gone.
I'll just take you over to have a quick chat to Aaron Zambezi, who is the race team manager here for Jack Daniels, and just grabbing a quick drink because the pace has been frenetic here in the garage as well. Aaron, you've got to be very happy with the way both Rick and Todd have done today.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a few laps to go, and I think it's just going to be a matter of now trying to keep it on the black stuff. But I mean, the boys have been driving well, so Yeah, we've just got to get to the end of the race.
Is it their water skiing background that makes them so good in the wet?
Sorry, mate?
Their water skiing background that makes them so good in the wet?
We were talking about this yesterday about why Rick's so good in the wet, and I reckon it's got a lot to do with boats. So, mate, it can rain as much as it likes.
All right, well, let's get back to work. Thanks, Aaron.
Well, you knew Barrett's was going to do a water ski gag, didn't you? Huh?
Multiple champ.
10 times, wasn't it?
Just ask him.
Yeah. No, he was a very good water skier, so he's... And the boys, the Kelly boys, are very active with their water sports, and Rick Kelly showing great form. Also, Todd Kelly to come up from 14th to 5th.
You know, we said at the very start of this broadcast that, like you were saying before, Cropper, you can't predict anything for a number of reasons. One, this is motorsport. Then you add the weather. I mean, if you're Todd and Rick Kelly yesterday, you're in the back end of the practice numbers, 17th and even further down for Rick. He was 23rd, and now they're both within the top 5.
So might you see if I can rabbit through these tyres here and grab a word with Brad Jones. Bradley, first of all, Bargs was going particularly well. Tough conditions, though, mate. I mean, that sort of stuff just happens.
Well, I mean, he was going really well. He's had a pretty tough couple of races, and we've been struggling to get enough speed out of the car for him. We've got a bit of an issue where we can't release the car enough down the straight. So, and you know, I was standing at the front watching. Like his first lap back after a safety car, I actually think Moffat's a really good driver, but he's better than that. That is just a really, really crappy move.
That's experience, mate. Well said. Okay, mate. Well, I hope you have a better day tomorrow.
Well, I think the boys are going to be here pretty late tonight, and maybe he'd like to come down and give us a hand to put it back together.
He was trying and trying and trying to hold on to his words there, but he just came out. That is a lot of damage. The rear of that car. There's Alan Moffat. Won a stack of races here. 4 race wins around Sandown. The most victories on this circuit belong to Craig Lowndes, and the way he's going, you wouldn't write him off. He's running out of laps, though, because 8 laps to go. Rick Kelly, the leader. James Courtney will be super aggressive. Will Davison's in 3rd. There's young James.
And did you see the effort that Rick Kelly was putting in at the front of the field there to keep those tyres warm? In these conditions now, you've got the wheel spin going. Look at the amount of brake and throttle application he's got going. So he's trying to keep the brake temperature up, keep the wheel and tyre temperature up, slide the car around, wheel spin it on the exit of the corners, do everything he can possibly do. And you listen here, see the left foot braking or buzz the throttle. This is James Courtney. He will be doing everything also to buzz the tyres up like that there now. You can hear the wheel spin. Then on the brake, keep the brake temperature up. Wheel spin it again. On the brake, keep the brake temperature up. So this whole phasing of this is all designed to have the best tyre temperature at the restart.
There's also a chance here that this may not go the distance. A timed finish of 1:15 local time. It's now 9 minutes past the hour. So 1 lap after 1:15. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But either way, they're going to get a few laps in.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 2 laps short of its published distance. It was a graphic, it was a great illustration of what goes on in the cabin with James Courtney there a moment ago, watching him work both pedals, really thinking a lot about it, making sure that those brakes are as up to temp as they can be, and the rears in particular tyres. Here it is again from the other angle. I mean, he's basically doing it at every possible opportunity, and he's riding the back of Rick Kelly, he's stalking him, because it's very important. It's in the rules, but some of them sometimes, I think, forget that you've got to be within 5 car lengths of either the safety car or the preceding car at these restarts. And some of them, this doesn't look too bad due to the viz, but sometimes the margins they give away before the start are quite amazing.
And of course, Neil, the other thing that's doing with that brake pedal, by heating up your brakes, keeping them up to temp, that temperature is then in turn transferring outward into the wheel, which in turn keeps the tyre warm, or the air within the tyre warm, which keeps the pressure up. And as we've already seen, these cars today, very sensitive to tyre pressure.
Race control having a good look at the situation as the safety car continues out there, the Pettis safety car. And funnily enough, with the laps that they're probably going to have left, so say we're going to have 5, 6 laps tops, and I'm talking tops, I reckon they're going to have the best conditions of the entire race here, because it has stopped pouring. It's still raining, but it's stopped pouring, and there's not as many puddles.
That's a very glass half full statement, Matthew. I like your optimism. However, if you'd like to swap seats with Jamie at the moment, you'll get a quick lesson in what a lack of grip feels like, because it is seriously slippery out there.
And visibility.
Positive spin on these guys.
So Lowndes has got closer, 188 points.
Yeah. So it's been a 6-point advantage for Craig Lowndes on today's effort, and there may still be more to come on that.
So Mark Dutton reminding Jamie of the very important rules that we covered off there a moment ago. Race control is now advising of the shortened event.
Shane Van Gisbergen sitting in 4th spot, and in the Stone Brothers bunker here, Ross is keeping a keen eye on him. Is he going to break through onto the podium today, Ross?
Well, actually the car's pretty good, and he's ready to go, but his visibility is a bit of a problem. The heated screens is working, but not as good as it probably needs to be, you know, so that's the only problem he's got. So he's been trying to clean it, and let's see what happens.
He's never had a lack of courage.
No, that's not. There's no shortfall there.
All right, all the best, Ross.
Okay, thanks.
That's a very good explanation.
I'm going to set up Demisters R Us before we leave tonight and make a fortune.
Yes, you'll be a busy man.
We're going to get a restart this time. Safety car lights are out, so the Petter's car is going to pull off into the pit lane. We're riding here with Will Davison, and they're very, very close. The first 3 positions here for the restart. This time there's no gap. But look at, well, there is at the front. Yeah. How's that? Rick's bolted again.
Look at this. They're 3 abreast. Lowndes is on the outside. And that's Todd Kelly up the inside of Van Gisbergen when he emerges, when that black car emerges from the mist.
Well, Craig Lowndes wanted to dive over to the left-hand side of the circuit, but I reckon that's where he all of a sudden found the big black car of Jack Daniels, number 7. Mark Winterbottom pushes ahead of Jamie Whincup. So Whincup's lost another position.
Todd and Van Gisbergen here. Todd could end up off the road. Yes, he does end up off the road.
And somehow Lowndes gets another face full of mud.
And yeah, the screen is covered, and he was very lucky, Todd Kelly, not to get T-boned then in turn 4. That's let Van Gisbergen off the hook just a bit. Look at the rubbish all over that car.
Well, Lowndes was also really heavily affected by the rejoin of Todd Kelly. He almost had to stop, and they got down the inside of Todd. Todd couldn't see him, so he turned in on him, and they made contact at turn 4. So Lowndes will be looking to get by now. Garth Tander's made great ground in the last little portion of this section. He's come back up to 7th, so he's right in behind Lowndes with Mark Winterbottom down the inside of Tander.
Winterbottom won't get the job done there, but
crisscross.
And Fabian Coulthard's just got past Jamie Whincup. This will surely trigger another safety car, which will probably take us to the end. If anything, he's just going further down, and Dean Fiore's also found the grass as well. So both James Moffat and Fiore off the circuit.
It sort of depends on where he is, though, as to whether they react at race control.
And now Winterbottom will squeeze past, does he? Tander, who's going to argue the point, up to turn 2. Winterbottom in 7th spot from 17th. It's been a good effort from Frosty. Oh, what a slide!
Garth's had a bit of a comeback here, hasn't he? When at one stage we were talking about him in the 20s. So for him to be in the top 10 at the moment, that's encouraging. Remember, there's a lot of focus in this championship battle for 3rd at the moment. Van Gisbergen, Winterbottom, Tander, they're the 3 combatants.
And Courtney hasn't had the sort of pace that he showed before the last safety car.
Will nearly went straight ahead then.
Rick Kelly's done a really good job, hasn't he, in terms of speed in this last sector. 2.5 seconds gap on James Courtney. Now, race control may have said, let's go to the end of this race. So there you can see, there's the gap. That's Rick Kelly, James Courtney, Will Davison, Shane Van Gisbergen, Todd Kelly, and Craig Lowndes. Top 6.
He's done a brilliant job today, Rick Kelly, from pole position, and all the stops and starts that this race has thrown at him. And this replay will unfold for us what happened to James Moffat. He got a shove along by Jonathan Webb.
Well, it started with Steve Owen. Steve Owen gave Jonathan Webb a hit, and then he fired into the back of Steve Johnson.
Every time that Rick Kelly has been given the chance, he's managed to pull away, and Shane Van Gisbergen does some mud raking as well. Lowndes again behind, cops a face full of mud.
He'd be sick of that by now.
Oh. The high-pressure washer will be pretty busy here later this afternoon, just trying to get these things clean. It's amazing how much rubbish is all over that car there. This guy deserves victory today. He's done a great job in the toughest of conditions. And Lowndes is going to walk away from this first of the last 4 critical races, having clawed back some vital points on his teammate Jamie Whincup, and that's the big championship story.
And would you have had money on that? One guy on the front row of the grid, the other guy on the last row of the grid. Lowndes has got 6 positions on Whincup as they get into the closing stages of this race. An incredible fight back from Craig Lowndes. What a drive by this young bloke.
So this is the final lap now. They won't go the 39 lap distance. Like I said, every time he's had the opportunity to pull away, he's done so. And it's, you know, it's all very well to be at the front of the field with the chaos going on behind you, but you've still got to stay on that road in these conditions with the hammer down. A great drive from Rick Kelly. More importantly, a great turnaround from what was a frustrating day for them yesterday. Lowndes is not done with yet. He is not finished this game of picking his way through the field in true Lowndes style. Now he's got the youngest bloke in the field in his sight, Shane Van Gisbergen. Pure power for Jack Daniels Racing down the back straight.
To lead a race like this, Matt, from start to finish, is an unbelievable achievement. Real maturity, a really good quality drive in terms of risk management. He's been the fastest guy, but he's also primarily been able to stay on the black stuff.
Well, he's had 2 pole positions now here, but he's yet to win a race here in his career that's seen victory at Bathurst. He's been a former V8 Supercar champion, and this time around is a great day for Rick Kelly. He's mastered the mayhem today.
Well done.
You bet it wasn't. Todd Kelly has got up onto the podium as well in 3rd. They're going nuts at Jack Daniels. James Courtney in between them in 2nd.
Isn't that great to see? It means so much to those guys. They give so much of their time and their heart and soul to success.
I think the pace was all right. You beat him by 3.7 seconds. So Will Davison in 4th spot. Shane Van Gisbergen in 5th. So Craig Lowndes started 27th, ends up in 6th. Mark Winterbottom started 17th, ended up in 7th. Good job too from Garth Tander and Coulthard and Owen. As we flip the page, we'll find Jamie Whincup sitting in position 13. So Lowndes comes in 6th. Whincup, who started on the front row of the grid, ends up in 13th. And David Reynolds had his dramas along the way. Andrew Jones filling in for Jason Bright inside the top 20. And the mud was flying at the back of the field. James Moffat, Fiore, Barguana, Murphy, D'Alberto will have a long night ahead of them on the day that Rick Kelly surfed his way to victory here at Sandown.